This is your host, Mr. Noesis, for Advertising Razzle Dazzle, where we take a good hard look at the assumptions and implications seen in some of today's advertisements. The advertisement we're going to look at today is one for a jet injector. This is a device used as a replacement for hypodermic needles for giving injections. It's used quite a bit by the military, and in this case, this was an advertisement for diabetics. As you can see, the ad shows the insulin being blasted through a balloon without popping it. The ad says, "Injections so gentle a balloon won't burst." Injections are so rapid and smooth that insulin can pass through the sensitive surface of a balloon without even bursting it. Now, one of the implications in this ad is that this is more gentle than the standard hypodermic syringe. Well, let's test it out. I have here a typical hypodermic syringe used by diabetics, and we will attempt to inject some of this super blue solution into a balloon and see what happens. First, we will load up the syringe with our solution here. And now we will attempt to inject the balloon and see how gentle it is. Well, we went in, no pop. Inject the material. Remove. No pop. Well, from that demonstration, it's hard to tell if this jet injector is more gentle than a hypodermic needle. They can both penetrate the balloon without popping it. But what the heck, let's go whole hog here. We'll go with a super needle. This is a sharpened knitting needle. As you can see, much, much larger than the hypodermic needle. We'll see what happens when we try to put one of these through a balloon. We lubricate it here with some dishwashing detergent because the latex rubber has a nasty tendency to really grab onto the metal, and it tends to rip the balloon. Now let's see what happens here as we attempt to put this needle through the balloon. Well, it went through without popping it. It has some big holes, so the air's leaking out, but the balloon did not pop. Now, if anybody thinks because you can stick a knitting needle through the sensitive part of a balloon without popping it, that it's going to be gentle when you try to stick it through your arm, you need help. Now, just what is it about the construction of a balloon that allows me to do these things? If you take a look at a balloon, you'll notice that at the very top, indeed where the ad shows this insulin being injected with the jet injector, and where I stuck the knitting needle through on the hypodermic needle, that this area is much darker. That's because the rubber here is much thicker. These balloons are made of latex rubber. They're dipped in a mold, and when the mold comes up due to gravity, the material tends to collect at the very bottom there. And in fact, this area at the bottom and this area up here are the two least sensitive parts of the balloon. The most sensitive parts are where you have the maximum stretched area with the thinnest material. That would be right in here. And indeed, if you try sticking a needle in there, the balloon will pop. Although it pops because of the extreme tension there, if you could do something to prevent the balloon from ripping, you could actually stick something through there without popping it. As soon as you introduce any sort of flaw in a highly stressed area like that, it does tend to rip. So we're going to take some of our anti-rip tape. This is standard electrical tape. And we will take a balloon and we'll put it over a sensitive area here. If we can put the needle into the protected area without popping it. But if we go to the unprotected area, of course she pops. Well, that's it for this episode of Advertising Razzle Dazzle. study your science and math so that you can be more aware of the advertising razzle-dazzle that takes place in many of today's advertisements. This is your host, Mr. Noesis, for Advertising Razzle-Dazzle.